So shifting gears one more time here. On helium, North American helium is getting really close to the 10 processing facilities that is roughly the critical mass needed to start looking at a liquefaction facility, which would be moving up a significant step up the value-added chain. What are your thoughts on that?
Good, and these are conversations that we have been having and continue to have with not just that industry but other industries as well. This is part of the great diversification of the natural resources that we have in Saskatchewan, and whether it be helium or other industries. First is to attract the initial investment, and second is then how do we start to add value to those investments that are coming in, and this is going to, I think, provide us a great opportunity to do just that. We finally see it after essentially centuries in the ag industry, where we're seeing the investment in canola crush and protein fractionation. We're going to see it much sooner in the helium industry. And, as you know, the resource we have in helium specifically is substantial in this province, and I would say the opportunity for Saskatchewan people is equally substantial.
Well, on the helium thing, actually, the image at the top of my webpage, that's not an oil well. Mm-hmm. That's a helium well drilled at Climax. Mm-hmm. You touched on something here, actually. I'd kind of riff off a little bit. The goal that your government put out in, I think it was 2019, the plan for 2030. Yeah. Some people might say, a lot of those things were impossible. And on canola crush, my mother is the closest neighbor to the two plants in York.
Oh, yeah?
They're doubling both of them.
Yeah.
And they're building a pea processing facility next year. We've hit the population numbers that were, said to be impossible. And this is why on the oil side, I think we can exceed the 600,000. I think that, people are saying...
You and I are in the minority in this building that think that, but we're there.
Well, it comes down to is that a lot of people say, well, we're never going to get larger. I mean, I'm sure you've, all the historical precedent of that from the previous people in your chair. But we, especially on canola, my mother hears the cranes all day long, working on Sundays because they are building that facility like crazy. Do you take a little bit of a feather in your cap saying, hey, we've set some goals, we're actually getting there?
Yeah, what's happening in the canola crush industry, I think, is indicative of what we can do in many industries. And it's not always just producing more, it's adding value to what we're already producing. And nowhere is a better example of Yorkton, with Richardson and Dreyfus both doubling their plant capacity there. We have, Cargill building outside of the city of Regina here, and still working with what was Viterra, now Bunge, on potentially another site here. But that's indicative of, what potentially can happen in the helium industry. I think there's an age-old discussion in the oil and gas industry as well, both up in the Lloydminster area and that heavy play, as well as down in the southeast. But we have I think in that particular industry, a more urgent conversation around actually where our production is and where it should and could and would be in the future. But it's about value, and think the wealth of Saskatchewan communities, the province as a whole, the communities, industries, and people in this province comes down to one very simple measurement for me. It's our export value. And in 2007, the export value in this province was $17 billion. This last 2 years running, it's been between $49 and $50 billion. That's a substantial increase in the dollars that are rotating through the economies in our various communities and our province more broadly. Export value is everything. Not export volume, but export value is everything. And the opportunity in the helium industry is only going to add value to that $49 billion, which is climbing.
When we start doing liquefaction, that should add a zero or so, I think.
It's just more.
In regards to new industries here, and we've been talking a lot about lithium in recent years, but
it's bubbling along under the surface.
Oh, it is. I put together a year-end video for Arizona Lithium showing how far they've gone, and they're talking about by this time next year they want to be in first commercial production. So last summer saw 3 lithium companies punching several wells in southeast Saskatchewan. Arizona Lithium, as I said, they're moving towards commercialization next year. EMP Metals is not far behind, and they drilled a couple wells out near Stoughton. There's another company that prefers to stay private that is also drilling near Stoughton. What does this burgeoning new business mean for Saskatchewan, and how will recent changes to the critical mineral policy help this commercialization become reality?
Well, there's more conversations to have in the space of lithium production, but certainly, the need and the demand is there, and I can't be more pleased to see, as how quickly it's coming along, and probably even quicker than I expected, which is a great thing. So there's some more conversation that we need to is happening and continue to happen to ensure that the government certainly isn't putting up any barriers to the expansion of the industry and what currently is happening. But it's certain, by the contrast, or contrary to that, is actually supporting continued investment into the industry, supporting the workforce that they have. Whether it be helium or lithium or a number of other industries. Can't we be thankful for the oil industry that we have? None of them would be there without it.
Well, I mean, you can't drill for lithium without a drilling rig.
Exactly. And, I would say we're very excited about, what's happening in the rare earth space and expanding some of the mined products that we're looking at, what's happening in the lithium space and the helium space. But I just say to all the, the oilmen of today and yesterday, none of that happens without the expertise that you bring and have honed over the years. And so, thank you to the energy industry for what they continue to do in producing some of the most sustainable, some of the most valuable energy products on Earth. But thank you also for what they've brought in the way of innovation and technology that is allowing us now to actually expand into these other industries. Saskatchewan people and more generally our economy and our province owes them a debt of gratitude.
Is there anything you'd like to add, sir?
I'd like to hear the current Prime Minister mirror my debt of gratitude speech to our oil industry and to actually support the way that we're creating wealth here in Saskatchewan. And I say that tongue in cheek. What I would like to add, in addition to saying thank you to all of those in the energy industry, but all of those across the province of Saskatchewan, your listeners and your readers, is to say thank you for supporting us in this most recent election in a fifth term Saskatchewan Party government in the province. Really quite unprecedented in Saskatchewan or across Canada. But more important than that, I take the opportunity to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Merry Christmas to your family, and wishing everyone the very best in the new year.
Thank you very much. I did want to mention, I don't know if you heard or not, but I'm going to be doing a podcast with Brian Zinchuk here starting in the new year.
Oh, good.
Yeah. The Pipeline Online Grime Sales and Service podcast. We talk. First one's going to be about royalties, so it's going to be interesting. Oh. I might use a clip of this to intro it.
I remember when she dug her teeth into being energy minister and how valuable that experience was when she became the Minister of Justice. Like her, because she, I remember talking to her and she didn't have a lot of, knowledge or experience in the energy industry or the mining industry when she went in to be energy and resource minister. But when she came out a year or two later, she sure as hell did. And then came into to be the Minister of Justice with all of that knowledge that she had acquired as serving as the minister and all those connections. And you look at the necessary conversations that she had to have as Minister of Justice with the federal government. We were so very fortunate to have her in both of those files.
So I'm hoping that her Rolodex and my Rolodex get some pretty good interviews. Maybe we'll have to get you on.
Yeah,